Morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We have multiple rounds of storms, including the threat for severe weather throughout this week. Then we'll preview your Mother's Day forecast for 2023 with temperature and precipitation trends. And we'll look ahead to the long range weather pattern. Will it continue to remain active? We'll answer that question later on in today's video. But going back to yesterday, it was a very active Sunday on the severe weather front. We had 5 reported tornadoes, especially up here into portions of northern Illinois. We had 116 wind reports, 157 hail reports, 25 of those being 2 inches or larger in diameter, for a total of 278 total severe weather reports going back to the Sunday time frame. So definitely a very busy Midwest and Central Plains it was yesterday. And looking here at the infrared satellite imagery this morning, we have a MCS or mesoscale convective system pushing across the Illinois Valley down here into the lower Midwest this morning, bringing lots of heavy rain and isolated severe weather on the southern flank of this system down toward the St. Louis region. But going through today, we have another setup for severe weather in 2 different areas I am most concerned about. We have a yellow shaded color that's a slight risk, 2 out of 5 on the scale here into west central Texas, and a larger slight risk in the yellow up here across the lower Missouri Valley, getting into the Ohio River Valley as well. And this is the concern moving through the day today. But if you do like detailed weather breakdowns on North America, including southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics, now is the time to press the subscribe button down below. You get each of these weather videos every single morning at 9 a.m. on this channel. And it's also very important to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. It helps out more than you know, so I definitely appreciate that. But going through today, we have a stationary boundary setting up across the Ohio River Valley. Along and south of that, a deep warm sector, again, across the southeastern United States. And you can see the instability values building as we get into this afternoon and this evening. You can see the oranges and reds on here. That is 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram of energy here, or thunderstorm fuel as we call it, as we move through the day today. And that will fuel the chance for a couple of isolated tornadoes, especially into southeastern Missouri, downstate Illinois, central and southern Indiana, southwestern Ohio, into Kentucky as we get through this afternoon and this evening. And areas impacted by the tornado risk, if you live in Springfield, Missouri, St. Louis, over here towards Indianapolis, the Cincinnati region, Louisville, and even down into the Paducah, Kentucky region, do be on high alert for the potential for tornadoes later on today. So let's time out the storms. An ongoing cluster of showers and storms across the Ohio River Valley, moving in through the Louisville region during the middle of the day today. This is at the noon time frame. But as we get to late this afternoon, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and toward the dinner time frame, we're going to start to turn our attention back to the west into portions of Missouri, southern Illinois, and southern Indiana for isolated supercells that will develop, producing some big hail, big wind, and also a couple of tornadoes cannot be ruled out through the early evening hours. Then this will all congeal into a loosely organized MCS or mesoscale convective system through the evening hours, posing the risk for very heavy rain, damaging winds, hail, and even a couple of tornadoes still cannot be ruled out through the midnight time frame as it pushes across Kentucky, southwestern Ohio, into southern Indiana. And then this will push across the mid-Atlantic and the Tennessee Valley, getting into your 6 a.m. time frame on your Tuesday morning commute. Down here across this secondary slight risk area across west central Texas, it's very quiet through the morning. And into the noon time frame, a couple storms possible down here toward the Galveston region, Beaumont, and toward the Houston Metroplex towards the noon time frame. Getting through the afternoon, we'll have to watch a couple of these cells over here into eastern Texas. Those could get a little bit feistier with some strong winds and some smaller hail. But the main mode of severe weather will be back here across west central Texas, as isolated to widely scattered supercells will develop after dark, and those could persist toward the midnight time frame, producing some large hail, damaging winds as well, and maybe even an isolated tornado that is possible. And then by the time we get into 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, we'll say goodbye to the showers and storms for the most part across the southern plains and wake up to some dry skies across the Dallas-Fort Worth area and then over toward Wichita Falls as well towards your Tuesday morning. Then as we go through Tuesday, that system pushes a little bit farther to the south, which means the instability will get pinched off here across the Midwest, and the instability will be building farther to the south as well. So we have ongoing severe weather across the Carolinas into southeastern Virginia with a marginal and slight risk, the slight risk up here into eastern North Carolina on your Tuesday. But the main mode of severe weather will be back here across southern Kansas, northern Oklahoma, western Oklahoma, into the northwestern Texas region. That is going to be a dry line setup we definitely have to keep an eye on, especially for some significant 2-inch or larger diameter hailstones across southern Kansas, western Oklahoma, getting down into the Texas panhandle there. And this does include the Enid, Oklahoma region, Woodward down there towards portions of the Lawton, Oklahoma region, just west of Lawton, and then down toward the Childress, Texas region into the Texas panhandle. We definitely have to be on high alert for those big hailstones over 2 inches in diameter, as well as a tornado risk across the front range of the Rockies here, all the way up into western portions of Nebraska, eastern Colorado through southern Kansas, much of Oklahoma here, and then getting down with that dry line into northwest Texas and the Texas panhandle. We'll definitely have to watch out for that. And the significant tornado parameter Tuesday evening does look pretty significant up here into the northeast Texas panhandle and western Oklahoma. So I do want to note that some of these values are hitting high on the scale here. So that is something to watch with a classic dry line setup. So going through the noon time frame, we got elevated hail producers up here into portions of Nebraska. Those shouldn't be too big of a deal. But as we get through the peak daytime heating, 6 p.m. on Tuesday, isolated to widely scattered supercells firing up right along that dry line here from western Kansas down into the Oklahoma and Texas panhandle. And one or two of these storms could take advantage of the instability down here and some of that wind shear for producing a couple of tornadoes we'll have to watch. Then going through the midnight time frame, this may congeal into a small cluster of storms as it crosses through central and eastern Kansas as we go through your Wednesday morning commute at 6 a.m. This will fall apart as it approaches the Wichita region and northern Oklahoma by the 6 a.m. time frame on Wednesday morning. Then going through Wednesday, our next piece of energy will be pushing across the Four Corners region as a trough here moves into portions of the Phoenix region down here into western New Mexico on Wednesday. That will eject across portions of the Great Plains and actually turn more negatively tilted on Thursday. So the concern on Wednesday will be severe weather with a slight risk up here into southeastern Wyoming, northeastern Colorado, into western parts of Kansas. But down the dry line into the Texas Panhandle and West Texas, we do have that marginal risk for severe storms on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I know it's a little hard to see, but in the yellow shaded color here across southwestern Nebraska, northeastern Colorado, western Kansas, and getting into the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles there, we do have a 15% or slight risk for severe weather across those areas getting into Thursday, May 11th. So looking at the setup, Wednesday night, we got some showers and storms farther up to the north across the South Dakota region into Nebraska. Those will probably be more elevated with more hail and damaging winds potentially. But then as we go through Thursday morning, we have a few thunderstorms we'll have to watch out for, mainly sub-severe, but definitely some heavy rain and some smaller hail possible, possibly even some gustier winds. But getting into Thursday evening, we'll have to watch the potential for supercells and even line segments starting to develop across the Great Plains here in that slight risk area. And we have to be concerned about possibly even a couple of tornadoes. So more of a classic severe weather setup across the Great Plains going into Thursday evening. But beyond that time frame into Mother's Day weekend, we do have the heat building across the Pacific Northwest and the northern plains, and then over top of that trough into the east, we have that heat again building with above normal temperatures. Where that trough does reside into this upcoming weekend, we're going to have unsettled weather, which means we're going to have cooler than normal temperatures across New Mexico into Oklahoma and much of central and west Texas through that Wednesday, May 17th time frame. But you can see going into Saturday, temperatures will be into the 80s across portions of the Illinois Valley through the Mid-South and the Southeast. We could be seeing some 90s here from the Carolinas through Georgia, Alabama, into Florida here. This will be a little bit cooler on Saturday with the the mid and low 70s across West Texas with some rainfall. But going into Sunday, we do see the heat building across the southeast with low to mid 90s possible across Alabama, Georgia, into the Carolinas, possibly even into North Florida as well. And some nice 70s starting to return back into portions of the north central Great Plains, the upper Midwest, seeing a nice warm Mother's Day weekend here across those areas. But it does look unsettled across the southern United States. An active subtropical jet means well above average precipitation, not only for Texas, but much of New Mexico, Arizona, Southern California, and then over here into the southeast. Meanwhile, we begin to dry out the weather pattern across Montana, the Dakotas, down here into Nebraska, and much of the upper Midwest during that Saturday, May 13th through the Wednesday, May 17th time frame. So looking at this Saturday morning, we got some showers and storms up to the north across portions of southern Manitoba, southeastern Saskatchewan, Canada, and down into the Dakotas, Minnesota, those areas. Probably not talking severe weather, but farther south, we are talking about some heavy rain across west central Texas on your Saturday morning. That continues through the entirety of the day on Saturday into Saturday evening with widespread heavy rainfall across Texas Hill Country. That continues through your Mother's Day morning as well on Sunday morning. We also have some rainfall up here across the Twin Cities, getting into Wisconsin and toward Milwaukee as well by your morning hours on Sunday, Mother's Day, and then going through Mother's Day itself, another unsettled weather pattern here will continue through Sunday evening across Texas Hill Country into maybe Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Arkansas during that period. So this will be causing a lot of heavy rainfall. So the total rainfall accumulation will be adding up from Saturday into Sunday and possibly into Monday morning. So your Mother's Day weekend time frame will be very soggy down here, and we have to watch out for some flash flooding. Even though it's drier down here, a lot of this could be running off, and we could be seeing totals of 2 to 4, even 6 inches of rain in some spots across Texas Hill Country into the panhandle of Texas, southern Oklahoma near the Red River here. So definitely widespread heavy rainfall to go around. And this is good news for the drought. We have extreme, exceptional, and severe drought really widespread across the Great Plains from Kansas down through Oklahoma into West Texas. And this is the very area where we do need the rain. So that is some good news going through this weekend. Unfortunately, it does coincide with Mother's Day itself, but definitely some beneficial news with the rainfall down here. We also will have some active weather across the upper Midwest into the Ohio Valley. We could have a couple rounds of storms, possibly some stronger storms at times, but mainly some heavy rain from the Twin Cities down through La Crosse, getting in toward the Milwaukee, Chicago regions, toward Indianapolis, and the Dayton, Ohio area. We could be seeing a stripe of 1 to 2 inches of rain in some spots across those areas, getting through your Mother's Day weekend time frame. But the pattern getting in toward the third week into May, from Monday, May 15th through Sunday, May 21st into the following weekend, does change up a little bit. We have a ridge of high pressure across western Canada and the Pacific Northwest. It will be heating up across those regions, but we have a trough diving down across eastern Canada and impacting parts of the Northeast and the Great Lakes region, bringing down some cooler than normal temperatures into the third week into May there. It will be drying out underneath that trough, but as we get underneath that ridge, though, across the southern United States with an active subtropical jet off of the Pacific Ocean, we will be seeing lots of unsettled weather with above normal rainfall continuing beyond Mother's Day. So this is beyond all the rainfall we get Mother's Day weekend. We'll be adding up more rain across Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and much of the southeast through that Sunday, May 21st time frame. And we have to worry about severe weather trends as well. It's May. We have to consider the severe weather potential. This is Monday, May 15th. We are seeing the higher dew points down here into the 70s across the southern United States. This starts to build back northward across the lower Midwest and the central and southern plains as we get into the following weekend on Sunday, May 21st, which I think is possible. We do see severe weather during that time frame here with my severe weather forecast pinpointing southern portions of Nebraska, much of Kansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas during that Monday the 15th through the Sunday the 21st time frame of May for possible severe weather events during that time frame with mainly damaging winds and hail, but a few tornadoes cannot be ruled out. So we'll have to monitor this period as we get a little bit closer. Well, if you want to follow me on Twitter for additional weather forecast updates, be sure to hit the description down below and follow me on Twitter, hweather420. I definitely appreciate it. Otherwise, thank you for watching this morning. As always, make sure to leave a like down below. below. Give me a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. My summer forecast video will be delayed because of the active weather pattern. I will have that out later this week, probably on Wednesday, May 10th. So hang in there. I will have my summer forecast for 2023 out later on this week. And everybody, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your Monday out there. I'll see you all in the next video.